Hey, what is up guys? I'm KBHD here, and this is a Sony PlayStation 4, and this is a Microsoft Xbox One. And this, what you're watching, is a comparison video of initial impressions between the two. Now this is also coming from a different perspective, probably more of a rare perspective of someone who's doing this type of video. I am someone who has never owned, get this, never owned a video game console in my life. I've played some console games, but I've never owned a video game console. So this video comes from a different sort of perspective. And for me, these aren't just next generation consoles. These are the only generation consoles and the only options between deciding between one or the other. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons for me and my initial impressions and what I'm getting as a sort of vibe from these companies as they advertise them, and maybe you'll get something out of it. Basically, the things I want to showcase to you guys are the designs of them and the actual hardware, both on the inside and the outside, because those are the things you actually have to consider. In terms of design, it's clear that one of them is way smaller than the other, the PS4 from Sony, way smaller. But what I noticed is there's actually a pretty sweet matte plus glossy design going on here. You may or may not like that. I actually like matte black electronics, but there's quite a lot of matte black plus glossy black on both of these consoles. Now when you look at the controllers, you also get a sort of parallel between the sizes of them, because again, the PS4 controller from Sony, it's always been smaller on the PlayStation side and larger on the Xbox side, and it's exactly the same here. You have a larger controller for the Xbox and smaller for the PS4. But in terms of actual usability, well, I guess it's a toss-up. If you're already used to the size and the shape of the Xbox 360 controller, you'll love the new Xbox One controller. It's the same natural upgrade with the same layout. But the PlayStation controller will take some getting used to if you want to switch to that. Same if it's the other way around. The layout of the new PS4 DualShock controller is the exact same as the layout of the PS3 controller, just with some ergonomic improvements. But if you want to switch from PS3 to Xbox One, again, that will require a bit of a learning curve. Now, looking at the actual inside of these consoles, you can also read that there is a difference in terms of graphical power between these two consoles. You'll find that actually the PlayStation is a little bit more graphically powerful in terms of just the physical hardware than the Xbox One at the moment. Now, right now, you're not actually going to be able to notice this. In fact, in terms of the user interface, or just browsing around things, launching games, closing games, multitasking, web browsing, you're not going to find a huge difference in performance because of that power. But these are consoles, and consoles aren't like phones or tablets where you might see a new model every year or 2 years or even a few months the way we're seeing it now. You see new consoles like this every several years, and if you want to get a console that's more future-proof, you may be more concerned with the actual specs inside if you want to get certain games that are going to be extremely intensive in 4 or 5 years from now. But back to the physical size, there's another thing you should know. Obviously, the controllers are different sizes, but the PlayStation 4, obviously way smaller, a bit lighter, very similar actually to the PlayStation 3 Slim in terms of size and weight. And the Xbox looks a lot like a VCR. It's not the same shape, it's more of an actual box, whereas the PS4 is a parallelogram, technically. But then the PlayStation has a built-in power brick, the Xbox doesn't. So you have to include an additional power brick to plug it into the wall. Not a big deal for a lot of people, but when you unbox these things, you notice the box is way bigger on the Xbox, the box is way smaller on the PlayStation. You get more accessories with the Xbox, larger accessories with the Xbox, and again, smaller package with the PlayStation. Now, in terms of actual video output capability and resolution, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of pixels. I like a lot of pixels, and I picked up that 4K TV that you guys were recommending to me on Twitter. You might be able to see it in the frame right now. Neither of these consoles right now will actually output native 4K. You can't really game in 4K, and a lot of that will depend on the games that later support 4K, as well as a software/firmware update that will enable these consoles to at least display their user interface on a 4K display in that native 4K resolution. If you're concerned about 4K at all, I have a 4K resolution and 4K video explained video right below that like button if you want to check any of that out. And if you're concerned about why I like pixels so much, that video will help you out. But right now, neither of these are 4K capable consoles. But if they're future-proof, as we know they are, hopefully those updates will come around very soon. But the last thing I want to talk about, which is really, I guess, the most important part of the comparison between these two consoles, and even if you're not a big gamer like me, or if you are a huge gamer and are really concerned about purchasing one or the other, you're going to want to know more about the philosophy behind the companies that are pitching these to you and what they're good for and what they're designed for. So if you start with the Xbox One, it's obviously a much larger physical console. And I guess the word console better describes what the Xbox One is all about. This is from Microsoft. They are trying to take over with the Xbox One your entire living room. This isn't just a game console, but obviously with the feature set and with all the different things it's designed to do, it'll do way more than just a game console. It'll take over your cable box. It's basically designed to be the only thing plugged into your TV. It doesn't want to live next to any other box. On the PlayStation side, from Sony, you're going to see this is really just made for gaming by gamers. It's really a purely gaming console. That's all it does. And it's perfectly content to live next to an Xbox or any other boxes you probably already have sitting underneath your TV. This is just gaming first, and you'll see reflected in all the software updates that come out to these consoles. This is going to get updates that are for gaming because of the gaming experience. Whereas the Xbox is going to get updates for gaming stuff, it's going to get updates for other sorts of firmware and software features, and your TV features, and your web browsing features, and all sorts of things like that besides gaming. Now, the PS4 does have web browsing, and it does have some other features, but again, everything associated with PlayStation Network and the PS4, just gaming stuff, purely gaming. Now, if you're a gamer, a hardcore gamer, you might like that, or you might think, certain launch titles like Forza 5, which I picked up for the Xbox One, are better for just what you want to do. So you might pick up the Xbox One just for that launch title, but at the moment, pure gaming, more than just gaming. If you take a look at the Sony PlayStation 4 ads and all the different things that Sony is putting into the launch of the PS4, and it's been very successful so far, you'll see that it's all about gaming, and obviously the games and the exclusive launch titles and all of the gaming experience. And if you look at the ads from Microsoft, the Xbox One, you'll see way more than just gaming. You'll see the TV stuff, you'll see the motion-activated stuff, you'll see the Kinect stuff, you'll see the web browsing stuff, you'll see the TV stuff. You'll see a whole lot more being packed into this package, which you may like or you may dislike, depending on if you want to pay the extra $100 or if you don't want the PlayStation Eye or the Kinect. There's a whole bunch of different more factors that I plan on going way more in depth into in the very near future. So basically what I'm saying here is I'm planning on giving you guys as much detailed content about these two consoles and how they end up fitting into my life and which one I end up, I guess, choosing as soon as I can. So it sounds weird saying I promise to play a lot of video games, but that's basically what I'm doing for you guys, and we'll see how that ends up going. And maybe if you guys want to give some comment suggestions below for some games that I should play on each of these. I already have Forza, I already have Need for Speed, FIFA's on the way, I'm already playing NBA 2K14. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in that comment section below, and I'll definitely get around to checking it out. But this is the Xbox One and the PS4. More videos on the way. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.